Hey Mixers, welcome back to another college football video. We did okay in college football this week, a little bit better than last week, but we've also been doing great in the WNBA, and we did okay in football as well. So it's been really good to kind of pick ourselves up from that week 0, week 1 horrible start to college football. Let's jump into week 3. All right, guys, so to recap last week, I ended up giving you 7 bets, and we went 4 and 3, so just over 500 there. We did like a 4-pack with Sawyer Robertson, Blake Shapen, Brennan Thompson, and then Cole Wilson, who we should have just stuck with Josh Cameron, who's Sawyer Robertson's ex-receiver, his number 1 wide receiver. I did mention in the video that you could take him, and he did go over his lines, but we were going with the new connection to this slot receiver guy, and he ended up only catching 21 yards. So that busted our little 4-pack that we had there. And then in the pinned comment, I gave you 1 bet that hit and 1 bet that didn't. LJ Martin on BYU over 20.5 for the longest rush. He had 47. This might be something we need to look at, every single week. And then Nico Iamaleava, I hate him. He has under cash for us week 1. We did take the under in this game, and I'm pretty frustrated about it, but we lost it, 255. UCLA should have had no trouble winning this game against UNLV. They should have been up. So the game script should have been that Nico is not going to pass. Even with them being down the entire game, Nico still barely cleared this line, and it was on the last drive of the game. So, yeah, I don't know what to tell you here. He's not a good quarterback at all, but he's definitely not a good passer, and we know that. So I am going to be looking at his line every single week, and just know that I have a personal, a dislike of him. And so that could be emotional betting a little bit. But anyway, our overall record, we are starting to climb out of that hole that we dug ourselves in the first week. The best bets here for week 3. I did go ahead and place a bet on Kansas State to beat Arizona on the money line. I did pair that with Utah to beat Wyoming, which is minus 3,000, just to get some plus money. So Kansas State on the money line was minus 105. I really hate drinking juice. You guys know that if you watch my other videos. And so I just put Utah in, and we got plus 101 on that. This is laughable to me. Kansas beat Arizona last year when Arizona was ranked. And that, by the way, is when they had Teteroa McMillan, who was one of the best wide receivers in all of college football last year. So Noah Fafita is still a decent passer. They brought in 3 or 4 new wide receiver transfers into Arizona. So it's not like they're a bad team. That's not what I'm trying to say. But Kansas State beat the pants off of them last year, and that was when they had Teteroa McMillan. So I don't know why this game is a spread of just 1. I think Kansas State could easily win by a touchdown here, maybe more. So anyway, I know Kansas State has not looked good, definitely not. But that's part of the reason why I like this bet, because Arizona hasn't played anyone decent. And now they're going to go up against their first Big 12 matchup, basically, where Kansas State is coming off of 2 losses already, and they're going to get up for this game. I mean, you can guarantee that. So, yeah, this makes no sense to me. Go ahead and grab that if you agree. The player props here, I have 4 of them, 5 of them, 4 or 5. We'll see. I think it's 4. Aaron Anderson over 69.5 receiving yards. This is the lead receiver for LSU. And in these 2 games so far, he did have 99 and 73. So he has gone over both of these lines. We did take him in the Clemson game at 64.5, and he easily cleared that, obviously, with 99. And now he's going up against a team that, they should be able to win with Florida. And I think they win by more than the spread. The spread is 6 right now. So I do think LSU wins by more than that. But see, like this first game with Clemson was competitive, right? The second game was not competitive. I think this game lands somewhere right in the middle there of being, semi-competitive, enough to keep Garrett Nussmeier throwing in the game, but not enough for Florida to ever really be in the game, in my opinion. But I guess we'll find out. We are taking DJ Lagway on the other side of that ball, the quarterback, over his 208.5 passing yards. He did go over this against LSU last year with 226. So, it was a close thing. And then in the 2 games this year, obviously they won 55-0. He didn't need to pass in that game. And then in the 1 competitive game, he had 222, which they did not play well in that game either. But Yeah, I like DJ Lagway here to pass for more than 208.5 passing yards against LSU, whose defense is not super great. I think it's okay. I don't know about being better than last year. At first, I would have said it was better than last year, but honestly, I don't know if that's really true. All right, Lenore Sellers over 217.5 passing yards. Last year, he was able to go over 6 out of 12 games. Now, he's a run-first quarterback, so his rushing prop is set at 50. His passing prop's 217.5. I have seen it at 221, but that doesn't mean anything. It's only 4 yards, and I don't think that means you should be running to go get this line, because I do think this line probably could still be available, like right at kickoff. Just because he's not he's a run first quarterback. The South Carolina Gamecocks are a run first team. They always have been. But he was able to go over this line against Vandy last year. He had 238. And he went over this line pretty consistently in close matchups or marquee matchups, right? So he didn't in the LSU game. If you look at the map here, he didn't go over, or in the Ole Miss game, but he did go over against Alabama, Texas A&M, Vandy, Mizzou, Illinois, the Fighting Illini. He missed against Clemson. So in these big games, he does kind of get up for them in the passing department a little bit more. So so I like this one here. And then we are going to take Nick Harbor, his receiver, over 47.5 receiving yards. He's had 99 and 0. So kind of a tale of two games here. One of them, he caught 3 passes for almost 100 yards. The other one, he didn't catch a single pass, and they didn't need to for them to win that game. So he's likely to only get 3 catches. Last year, he was only getting 2 to 3 catches at the beginning for 15 to 20 yards or so, not much. But then towards the end of the season, he started catching the same amount of passes, 3 to 4 passes, but much more yardage, so around 50 to 100 yards. And so he really came on at the end of the year last year. I like this spot for them, just in general, which is why obviously we're taking them. All right, one player to watch that we don't have lines for yet is Justice Haynes. I've been super impressed by him. He is a transfer for Michigan coming over from Alabama, and he's been phenomenal for Michigan. Michigan obviously is a run-first team that has always been their identity, and last year it was impossible to bet on them because they had 2 running backs, and it was almost, I don't know, it was really hard for me anyways to choose which one of them was going to have the good game. So sometimes it was just one of them for the whole game. Sometimes it was split, and whoever breaks off a long run ends up going over their line and the other person doesn't. So that was very frustrating for me. But Justice Haynes has put up 120 plus yards in 2 back-to-back games now. And I think it's a trend that we can bet on. So we saw this last year with Ashton Genty. We saw this last year with Omarion Hampton. Just players that are going to be force-fed the ball, and they are consistently going to go over their number no matter who they're playing against. So keep an eye out for his lines. We might want to take his rushing yard prop. We might want to take his longest rush prop. But we want to bet on something for this guy because last year the books did not know what to do with Ashton Genty, and they started pulling his longest rush yard line off the board and not even letting you bet on it just because he kept hitting it every single week. So I'm interested now. I've seen it. I wanted to see what the fit was going to be like. I did lose some money on Michigan last year betting on those running backs, and so I didn't want to do that again. But I'm in. So I want to see what his line is, and I want to bet on that. All right, guys. So here is the recap. We're taking Kansas State at Arizona, the money line. Aaron Anderson over 69.5 receiving yards. DJ Lagway over 208 passing yards, 208.5. Lenora Sellers over 217.5 passing yards, and then his wide receiver, Nick Harbor, over 47.5 receiving yards. That was 46.5 when I was looking at it, and it moved up as I was betting it by 1 yard. I don't know that it's going to move a lot, but so I'm not saying you have to run out and get these. I don't think they're going to move that much. They're going to be pretty close to the same, in my opinion. I am avoiding a lot of the marquee games this week because I just didn't know what to do with them. So I will continue to take a look at the props as the days go on here before kickoff. But anything added will be in the pinned comment. But for now, if you want to get in for our cash giveaway that we're doing, we just gave away cash for 2 of our NFL videos the other day. What we like to do on this channel is give away cash if our best bets hit. So to get into the cash giveaway for today, Just make sure you're subscribed, like the video, comment 2 of these players, or the money line bet that we took that you think are going to hit. And if they do, then I will give one random commenter who has 2 correct picks, some cash. So as our subscriber count goes higher and higher, that cash prize will grow. Right now it's just $10. So it's not a lot, but hey, it's better than $0 just for making a comment. All right, thanks guys. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you on my NFL videos that I've already posted and the ones that will be coming out later this week. Thanks.